What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing the Night of the Lion.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, August 14th, 2026. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from Super Game It and our Success Group. And Terry, I'm going to just ask everybody a question right off the bat here today, right? Like, here we go. Whether you own a shop, whether you sell the work, whether you produce it, or you're just trying to figure out your next move in the industry, here's the question. Are we making it harder than it needs to be? Question mark, right? And
An excellent question.
it is an excellent question. So our friend Warren Warbett is back, and he's going to help us put the blinders on, focus on what matters, and take ownership of things that we can actually control. And the goal is to help us all simplify in a way that only Warren can help us with. So looking forward to having this. We always have a blast with Warren, and he always brings great information too. So we're excited to have him back on the podcast here, Terry.
Absolutely. And make sure you stay till the very end for the secret sauce. Eric's going to stir up some discussion over when it makes sense to redraw or rework art for embroidery digitizing. You know, Aaron, when I read that, I thought, wow, this is pertinent to no matter how you decorate. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, even if you're not an embroiderer, I think you could take something out of this today. I got to find it. There it is. I got my marker. Do you have your junior yellow legal pad? Are you all set to go? Is it handy? All right. He's set to go. So we've got Teresa Hagel hanging in the wings there to bring us the news in just a second. But real quick, Terry, can we do we just finished the last of the DAX shows of the season.
Yeah.
And just a little quick recap. You and I were there in Minneapolis, Minnesota last week. And that's why Cassie and Eric were bringing you the show. Great job, by the way. And even managing their way through some technical difficulties. It was an awesome show. So, Terry, what was you didn't hit every one of them this year, but you had a pretty good amount of them that you went to.
Yeah. I was in Chicago, Nashville, and Minneapolis. I love the DAX shows, and I talk about this every year. It's just such an intimate setting to be able to talk to people, and of course, Aaron, I can't go to any of those shows without somebody coming up and saying, "Hey, I was in your screen printing class 6 years ago." But Minneapolis was a little slower than I remember. It's been a couple of years since I've done the DAX shows, so
Yeah.
you might have a little better perspective on that. And I know they have a lot of things in the works for next year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're right. I think it was definitely a little slower than anticipated. I know this year they took a big bite, right? They added 3 shows. They added 2 shows. So they added Dayton, Ohio. They added Tampa, Florida, and I thought 3 because Nashville, but this was their second year in Nashville, and so. They took over 2 years ago from Scott and Margie, the new ownership group. Great people, Nick and Maddie and TJ over there working really hard, and that's what I was excited about, right? Like we have had people come into the space and say, hey, we're gonna take over this show. And it seemed to be like, because shows are making so much money is what it felt like, right? And like,
we earn more money in this show.
Yeah. And we're like, you may be missing the point here a little bit, and unfortunately, those things have not necessarily panned out the way they thought they would. Whereas this group, they came in and they said, hey, we're going to invest into this, right? We know that it's not going to be all rainbows and ponies all the time. We're going to have to rebuild this and invest into it. So. I like that they're willing to try new things. I like that they're, trying to find, locations where people might be underserved. Like you said, I think they've got some big things in the works. with the shows kind of specifically apparel decorating shows kind of thinning out a little bit. Outside of the big Printing United, you've got a handful of Impressions expos now. Maybe not even a handful, 2 or 3, I think, is what it's kind of whittled down to. Again, totally fine. Doing new things. I'm all about that. Beyond that, as far as an actual apparel decorating show, DAX is the only game in town, right? So they're filling that void that was left when Graphics Pro left the space. And I'm excited about next year. It can only definitely, we just need to get people to show up. And I think that's the challenge, right? I think everybody's decided, hey, we can just do this online. But every year we go to these DAX shows and every year we make connections and every year, people realize, gosh, the fact that I got to touch and feel this, right? Like we've had conversations with lots of different people that ended up, choosing one thing over the other. Whereas if they didn't come and actually get to touch and feel and have that in-person conversation, they may have been stuck with, a boat anchor, right? Like we've seen it. And we talked to people at the shows. I got into this, I bought this thing and it's just killing me. And, but I'm in it. So I decided, okay, I'm going to invest in myself and come to this show. And, they were able to pull themselves out, but there's plenty of other people that just go to the webinars and hear what, the Facebook ad tells them. And next thing you know, they're struggling after investing a massive amount of money. So.
YouTube is not the answer to all questions, everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great for information, right? It's great to, get started. But I think in the space that we're in, any print really, print, promo, Teresa, right? They've got some great shows. I did not include them in the mix because, they're not specifically an apparel show, but that would be another great set of shows you can get out to is the ASI shows. So, we are still humans, everybody, by the way. We have not been taken over by Skynet yet. And as long as we're human, we still need to get out and get in front of each other. So that's my soapbox moment for today. I'm done.
All right. Well, let's jump to the news.
Absolutely. Let's bring Teresa in here. Excuse me.
Hi everyone, Teresa Hegel with ASI here, and I have some great headlines for you. First up, I wanted to highlight the Counselor 2026 State of the Industry Report, which was released a few weeks ago. And as always, it's packed full of actionable data and important insights for promo distributors and apparel decorators. I'm not going to get into too much detail here because we will actually be breaking it down in a full episode of Two Regular Guys in the near future. But I do want to give you a few morsels to kind of whet your appetite. So first off, t-shirts remain the most sold product category in promo, making up nearly 15% of industry sales last year. Notable change to the list of products, drinkware actually declined for the second consecutive year, suggesting the category's Stanley-fueled boom is cooling. Also of note, the top 3 markets where promo is sold in 2025 were education, healthcare, and construction. As I mentioned, the full State of the Industry report is filled with data and analysis, and it's really well worth a read, so you should definitely head over to our site to check out the whole report. Next up, we recently released the results of ASI's quarterly sales survey, which found that promo industry sales grew 2.5% year over year in the second quarter. Growth remained uneven across the industry, with larger distributors outperforming smaller firms and suppliers generally reporting stronger results than distributors. The Counselor Confidence Index ticked up slightly, signaling cautious optimism for the second half of 2026, even as tighter budgets, geopolitical uncertainty, and higher costs cause headwinds to persist. And finally today, I wanted to share some acquisition news. Counselor Top 40 distributor Nadel has acquired Tugboat, a distributor based in Napa, California. The deal pairs Tugboat's fulfillment expertise with Nadel's global sourcing, logistics, warehousing, and brand consulting resources, according to the company. The news comes just a few weeks after Nadel announced the acquisition of All Branded Group, a promo products and brand experience company based in Australia. That's all the news I have for you guys today. Thanks so much.
right. Well, thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you bringing the news. And as she mentioned, we are really excited. Did we miss the show last year that we did with them? Did we miss the report last? No. Okay, good. It just
Yeah,
feels like it was so long ago. It was a year ago, but all right, good. Well, I'm excited about that show. Always such great information, and they put so much effort into, again, one of the things we loved about when we talked with them about sustainability and what they're looking at there, they're not looking to, prove their story. They're looking to find the truth. And that's not always the case, right? So that's one of the things we love about ASI is they don't go into these kinds of reports and information to try to prove a point. They go into it saying, here, what can we learn? And so they're going to bring that. So I'm looking forward to that, Terry.
Oh, absolutely. When I saw that headline, I'm like, all right. I love this show every year because there's always something that we learn in that show. So
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely. So
then, the last thing, what a great name for a company, Tugboat.
absolutely. That is true. Very, very true. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, Terry, check in with some folks here. We have Doug Sobel checking in early there from Los Angeles and Ramona McKee checking in. So appreciate you guys, you regulators checking in. If you are tuned in live, make sure you jump in the chat there and, ask questions, bring your perspectives and insight. We always try to get as much of that into the show as we can, even though I know a lot of you guys are listening on the podcast side. So it's the show's already passed. But if you ever get an opportunity, just pop in one Friday morning and be part of the show there, Terry. So excited about that. So Terry, we were talking about Dax a little bit earlier and relationships and some of that stuff. Another benefit of these relationships is we get dad jokes sent to us. and this is a friend of ours. You and I both knew Andy's dad before him. I think we maybe met him at the same time, but
Right.
Andy's dad is passed, and so being able to reconnect with Andy, we got to see him there in Chicago. Actually, you mentioned, and just such a good dude. And he sent me over a dad joke here. So, are you ready for that, Terry?
I'm ready. Let's hear Andy's joke.
All right, Terry. Do you know why the librarian got kicked off the airplane?
No, why did the librarian get kicked off the airplane?
Because it was overbooked.
That's a pretty good one.
All
I
right.
met Andy and his dad. They attended my screen printing class years ago in Chicago. So
I thought that was the case, but I couldn't remember, so I wasn't going to say something else that I couldn't back up. I've already done that plenty of times this morning.
we did share some beers and wings in Chicago. So
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
all right. We want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, and be a part of every show. Do not be left out. We're always looking for new guests, so if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2, the number 2, regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate it if you would keep us or give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in, as Aaron said, with your comments and add your thoughts and questions to the chat.
Outstanding. All right. Well, thank you, Terry. Shall we jump in and get Warren in here? I think we've built the anticipation. Are you ready? All
Let's
right.
do it.
Hey, there he is. Welcome, Warren. We built up that anticipation for you, so we appreciate you being here. You were just recently with us doing a secret sauce, which was awesome, rock star as usual, and then we've had you on before. But for anybody living under a rock, Warren, that doesn't know who you are, just give us the quick elevator version of who you are.
Been in print a long time, had a company, built it up really big, lost it in the end, lots of experience, traveled the world 5 times over, know everybody, just really want to help other print, and I don't care what print you're in, I just want to help other print people be successful and survive, what can be a difficult industry at times.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's start off with controversy.
Hang on. First of all, it's nice to be a guest. Thanks for having me. But you guys were talking about shows before and people. So before I lose the thought, if you're listening and you're out there and you're in this industry, pick up your ass and go to every show you can. It's not about spending money. It's an investment. You are going to get your best ideas at shows. You're not going to get them in your office. You're going to be around other people. You're going to see old friends. You're going to make new friends. New friends are important in this industry. Why? Because new friends bring you information. If there is an industry, then everybody in the industry feels good that it's big. You don't hear after that the show was light because they're watching online. Online, you don't listen. You don't learn. Anyways, I'm going to stop it there, but don't be lazy. Oh, last thing. If you're going to go to a show, bring someone from your office. Bring a young person. Show them that you care. Show them that you're going to invest in them. Show them that you're interested. And a few things happen right away. Number one, everybody expands. Everyone in the company is excited because they're going to hear what happens after the show, not from the owner, but by the person that they bring, right? And then from a mental health aspect, you bring people and you start to do things, people feel better about themselves. When they feel better about themselves, they do better for you. That's it for the show.
There we go. Yeah, I was going to say, mic drop. Hey, great show today, guys.
I can't help it because I'm tired of hearing about people not going to shows.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Cool.
Well, Warren, you're known for being innovative, unconventional, uncensored. Here's my controversial question. What's something the print industry believes today that you think is completely wrong?
Everything. So I'm gonna turn it, and I'm gonna tell you what I think is a little wrong in the industry, because I don't need to hear from other people that aren't doing it right. So right away, we do not give ourselves enough respect in this industry.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Almost every business we deal with depends on us. There isn't a business out there that doesn't run with some form of print. Many printers don't charge enough. We can get into that after. It makes me crazy. You're in business to make money. I got a really good example after. Actually, I'm going to give you the example now. Your toilet's blocked. You'll spend $500 to have the plumber come over, fix your toilet. You got to look at his ass crack while he's doing it. But when the customer comes in, they're going to a business show tomorrow. They need their stuff immediately, and they're haggling you for $1,500, and you're haggling back. No, your price is your price. It's a service. We're putting in the time. I don't want to hear anything else about it. Okay? Stop selling savings to people. You're selling solutions. You're selling ideas. You're not selling savings. Savings, they can go to the dollar store. Okay? We got to get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
We're selling solutions. We're helping people solve problems. We're helping people build their businesses. So I just think we're not doing enough of that. Anything else anyone has to tell me, I'm not really interested.
I love it.
Well, and the thing is, and you're exactly correct, and I see this with a lot of new decorators. Hey, I'm working out of my garage. What I do doesn't have value. It has value. It has value to those customers out there, and charge accordingly.
Never mind. If you're working out of your garage, use the business to pay off part of your mortgage. You're in it to make money. No one does anything for free, and we go out there when we buy stuff. We don't haggle everybody. Why do we let them haggle us?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not walking into Walmart and saying, your rollback prices isn't low enough for me.
Right. I'll pay $20. That's my bottom line.
Yeah, exactly.
The Walmart greeter's like, okay, well, try the dollar store.
Exactly. All right, Warren. So obviously, these are some things that right there. But if you had to, if I pushed you into a corner and I said, okay, Warren, what's the biggest mistake that you see business owners making that's holding them back, right? That's keeping them from getting to where they should be going or could be going. What would you say that is? What's that biggest mistake?
They don't know their real costs. And unfortunately, when you don't know your real costs, you don't know how to estimate properly. You therefore don't know how to make enough money. Without enough money, You can't hire people, you can't buy things, you can't go places. And listen, in your own life, when you don't have enough money, what are you? You're stressed. What happens when you're stressed? You can't make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's perfect in every way. I agree with you 100%. Can you really quick break down for us what you mean by knowing your costs?
Well, that's pretty simple. You got to know what your rent is. You got to know what your machine cost is when you buy it. But then there's the cost of operating it. There's the person. There's the consumables. There's the space that it sits on. There's anything that's part of it is your cost. Any money that goes out is a cost. Anything you're paying is a cost. Time. Even people sitting around and talking about an idea is a cost.
So, okay, perfect. Yeah, so basically everything you need to have your business open. But let's say I'm the owner though, so I don't need to get paid, right?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I knew that would solicit a
No,
response.
you're the owner. Your ultimate goal is to make as much money as you can. Okay, actually, no, I want to back up. First thing I want to ask people is, what kind of business do you have? Do you have a lifestyle business, or do you have a growth business? Do you want to build it into something that you're going to reap the returns after when you sell it and you're rolling? Or are you looking to expense things, go to dinners, take vacations, travel, and go as you go? If that's the case, that's cool, but then don't have other expectations. Look at it that way, set it up to be that. If you want to be in a growth mode because you want to hire, you want more business, you want more accounts, you have to look at it differently.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, and when you talk about knowing your costs too, there's a reason for that. So this is not just an exercise. If you figure out that it costs you $100 an hour to run your business, and then you look at your pricing and say, if at maximum production, I'm only making $75 an hour, you're doing something wrong. You need to be able to look at these things. You don't have to be an accountant to figure this out.
You need 1 and 1 to equal 3, not 1 and 1 to equal 2.
Yes.
It's always got to be more.
Yeah.
And if your accountant says to you 1 and 1 is 2, you get another accountant, the one that agrees that 1 and 1 is 3.
I love it.
Well, I hear a lot of emphasis on money. So we're in a lot of print shop owners, and we've all seen this. Busy all the time, but not necessarily making money. How do you help a business owner distinguish between being busy and actually building a successful business?
Well, if you're building a successful business, you have some profit to look at. You see movement moving in a positive way. If things are not moving in a positive way and all you're doing is fighting, complaining, bitching, worrying, and trying to beat up your suppliers to get better pricing to make up the money you don't have on the sales side, you got a problem. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on, right? Your people could tell you. If you're making too many mistakes right away, it's a problem. If you're not checking your jobs after they're done versus your cost versus estimate, you got a problem. Right? If you're telling the person to ship it any way they have to, you got a problem because you didn't quote any way shipping in the price. You probably have a set price. You don't want to throw money at the job after you've gotten it, which a lot of people do because they don't think in advance. So again, everything really comes down to making sure you're charging for the right thing. You're not leaving anything out. If you have to take an Excel, I remember we took an Excel spreadsheet in the beginning, and we sent it around with the docket or the work order. So every department, as tedious as it was, ticked off what they did. And it was to train the people after to not do something if something before wasn't done, and don't pass it off if something's not done. Because we make, in our want to succeed and service, we rush. And when we rush, we make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, only we pay for them. We pay in $1, and then we pay because usually a customer is unhappy because they don't understand that a mistake was made rushing to help them.
Yeah, love it. Wow.
I went into a business one time, and they had like their work orders. Back then it was in paper. They were like 3 or 4 pages long. So I went to every department and gave them a different color highlighter, and I said, highlight what you personally used in this order. So the art department did it, and every department. And then I went to the owners of the company and I said, listen, you need to get rid of everything that doesn't have highlighter on it. And of course they're like, what if somebody needs it? Well, if somebody needs it, they can go find it, but you don't need to have people digging through paperwork. And it's the same if you've got it on a tablet. You still don't have to have every bit of information. Just what you need. Let's turn and burn.
You have to use the tools that are out there that your people can deal with, and whether it's new technology or still writing on a list. No one says paper is outdated. We're printing it every day, right?
Right.
And you have to take the time and you have to do it, because not everyone sees things the same way. But you have to communicate within. Listen, one thing that we did was every time we had a redo or a problem with a job docket, whether it's from the outside, from the inside, we would take the docket and we would print out a red sheet for the front. At one point, I think 34% of our dockets in the plant were red.
Yikes.
And it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I'm talking the slightest thing. Someone put the wrong shipping address, red docket. Why? Because that's more time and energy from someone after. And have a meeting after, because everyone's freaking out that the whole flow is red. And then slowly what happened is we saw those reds disappear because people started to notice, they started to remember. Nobody wants to be on the bad train that's making all the errors.
Yeah.
So
Right.
without saying anything, they automatically elevate the way in which they're working, and then they start to look at things.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it speaks to the point, like sometimes though you do have to recognize the pain before you can start fixing it, right? Like you said, okay, let's get it out there. Yeah, we got to 34% of these red things and everybody's freaking out. But I think that's how change happens, it sounds like.
Yeah, it starts with your financial controller coming in and telling you, the owner, that, boy, you're in big trouble. And if you don't do something, you're going to have to put some of your other money back in.
Yeah.
Or mortgage your house if you don't have money, or whatever it is. But you don't need that. I only want my controller coming in to say, hey, we had a good month. You made some money.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. All right, Warren. So you're in there, you're consulting with somebody, you're working with them, and they're kind of in survival mode, barely, right? They're just scratching and clawing just to hang on. What do you suggest to help them go to this kind of growth and thrive mechanism?
First of all, if you're in survivor mode, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. I don't know that if you're in real survivor mode, you're going to get out of it. Right? How could you get out of it? You have to have a little bit of money on the side. You can't be late paying everybody and the phone always ringing and someone for payment, because then you're just not thinking, right? You're all nervous.
Yeah.
If you can, you want to bring somebody in from the outside to help you. And don't think about the expense of them. Think about them coming in because they're not attached to your business. They're not emotionally involved in it. They're there to do a job. They're going to call out what they see. What they see is probably some of the stuff that's wrong, which is probably a lot of the stuff you already knew about but never acted on, right? There's no secrets in what we do or what goes wrong. I'm at a frustrating point because I see so many people in business, and not the new people, but the older people in business or older businesses, and they're repeating a lot of the same issues that they've had or things that we're discussing. There's no reason for that. If you're new, well, then it's a whole other, we'll call the learning education, because you don't learn that education in school. That's only when it's hands-on. So you have to really it's bringing in people. It's pulling your team together, leaning on the ones that you know that you can trust, that know what they're talking about. Ownership tends to have a problem delegating and letting loose a little bit. And I was no better, right? We think we know, we want to control. Best thing I could tell you is when you leave the office for 3 days, most people's offices cruise even better than when you're not there. Why? Because they're making decisions on their own. They have to make decisions. They're not worried about making the decision. When you're there, they line up outside your office waiting for you to make the decision because they don't have to. So again, delegate, put on them. And if they make a mistake, don't rip their head off. Sit down, discuss the mistake. You just don't want them to make it again.
Yeah.
Well, I did a secret sauce on this about 2 weeks ago, so folks, go to YouTube and check it out. So, and by the way, Warren, older people in the industry, we prefer the term industry veteran.
I refer to them sometimes as just legends of their own mind.
There you go.
So, when I started out in business, it was just me, and I really enjoyed production. I really enjoyed the printing. I wasn't in business very long before I realized I can't be doing that. So talk to us a little bit about business owners that need to get out of the production weeds and start working on their business instead.
Well, I'm proud to say that I never got dirty because I never wanted to get dirty. I didn't mind shuffling some paper, turning on a few buttons, but it wasn't my thing. But working on your business, it's important to get to the point where you could work on your business. It's important that you work in your business in the beginning, but you have to be able to determine when it's time to shift a little. And when that shift happens, again, you lean on the people inside. Even if you only have 2 employees, you lean on one more than the other. And then you have to get out and then start looking at what you have to do within the business, but you're not day to day. It's too hard. You have to let some other people solve some problems. You can't tell everyone to wait for you to come, because then the whole shop stops and everybody waits. And I learned that a long time ago. The minute I say, hang on, you're the boss. They're waiting. Even if they know they should be working, you told them to wait. So our messaging, sometimes people tend to take the messaging in the way they want to take it at the time. So if they want to take it in a jokingly way, they take it in a jokingly way and everyone's kind of happy. If they think it's very serious and they don't want to get into trouble, then they might, just stand there and wait. So, but you need to be working with your employees. You need to be speaking with your customers. You need to just do more than the production. It's everything else that builds your business as well, right?
Yeah.
To me, the production's the easiest part.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Wow. Quick break. I got to say hi to my son, Keegan, is here. So thank you for being here, Keegan. Sorry, off track there. All right. Warren, you and I have actually had this discussion probably several times before, but I remember one time you and I were just on the phone kind of talking about what's going on out there and stuff like that. And I think you see it, I see it, we see it all the time where people are just like, oh, if I just get this piece of equipment or technology, all things are going to be rosy. And I think, we've already talked about it a little bit here even today. They're overlooking more important investments in people getting to shows, processes, sales, marketing, right? So talk to us a little bit about that, right? Like, how do you see that? The next shiny object's probably not going to fix the problem, but I'll let you run from there.
I don't like to think about it as the next shiny object, right? If you're going to spend money on a person, on a machine, on anything, you need to do your homework and know what the purpose is of the person or the machine. You cannot bring anyone or anything into your shop if you don't know what you're going to do. Why? They're going to be standing around and the machine will be sitting idle because you don't know. I'm going to give you an example of a conversation that I had with a company, which I have to control myself because it makes me really like fucking crazy. So, and it's a typical thing. So I'm on with some people who want to know if I want to come and speak to their salespeople and punch them up and do all kinds of stuff. And I said, okay, cool, let's talk. I said, send me a list of what you want me to talk about. They send me the list. I look at it, I call them up, and first I say to them, that's a 3-week course. You're trying to bang that in 45 minutes? Are you out of your mind? That's the other thing people are trying to do. They're trying to get information and cram it. People can't take it in. Yeah. Anyways, I asked to speak with the owner. We get on the call with the owner. I want to know a little bit more. And then they tell me that they invested millions of dollars in all of this equipment, and they've got a good sales force and all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so I suggest to them that we build the playbook. Now, depending on the size of your company, the playbook could be anywhere from like $3,000 to $15,000 because it's all about the time it takes to put together. And the playbook is what's going to take you through the rest of the year for your messaging. Everyone in the company will work from it. You are all on the same page. And they said to me, not in the budget. Not in your budget. You just spent $4 million and you don't have $15,000 to get your team together, but the equipment's already here? Are you fucking nuts? You have a football team, you build $100 million, you know, everyone understands football. You have a football team, you spend $100 million on your payroll. You don't have the playbook before you send them on the field? Please. Who listening doesn't understand what I just said? I don't have to say anymore.
If we could just get a little more passion out of Warren, Terry, this would be a great show.
I'm gonna give myself a heart attack.
I know, dude. We're gonna have to get you a drink in Las Vegas just to.
Water to start.
All right, good.
Yeah, but it's really, you know, that's really what it is, and you just have to make sure that everything you're buying, look at it as it's a tool. Doesn't matter what, a software, a machine, a person. Figure out what the tool is going to be used for.
You know, Warren, I was in a shop one time on the East Coast, and the owner said to me, we're walking around the production facility, and they had multiple automatic presses, and they were a big fulfillment company, and he said to me, well, Terry, I love your ideas, but I'm a multi-million-dollar printer. I don't have time. I can't shut down production to implement your ideas. And I said, well, it looks like you're shut down already. There wasn't a single press running. You know, they had all the equipment, but they didn't have any systems in place to keep that equipment running. So there's a lot of things we can do that is not an investment in equipment, like you said, Aaron, and a lot of times it's in just figuring out how to be more efficient about what we do. But I want to kind of shift gears here a little bit. And we've all had this person walk up to us at a trade show. You know, in my town, you can't get more than X dollars for a printed T-shirt. In my town, you can't get this, you can't get that. So, Warren, when somebody says, my customers only care about price, what's your response to that?
You obviously don't speak to your customers properly. You obviously haven't taken the time to explain to them, you know, what you do and the value of it. You haven't taken the time to bring them into the back of your shop, to walk them around, to show them what the equipment is, what the steps are, that the amount of people you have there, even to mention the machine's $300,000 or $50,000. You've done nothing to connect them to the business they're walking into. But when people go to restaurants, they don't negotiate with the server for what's on the menu, whether they agree that the steak is expensive or not. And that's in every other business. Why is it that we, the print companies, have to negotiate everything? If the person thinks that it's too expensive, let them leave. As hard as that is, it's better to let them leave than you lose money. Because this is the other thing that happens. And anyone, correct me if you think I'm wrong. Every time we take a job because we think we can make some money, because we think it's good, we're doing someone a favor, we're filling up a press, you're redoing that job 2 or 3 times. So at the end of the day, better to let them walk away than to use up everybody's time, because on doing it 3 times, you have good customers that are suffering because you're now rushing to get the job you messed up out. Yeah. So the real thing is communication. The real thing is taking the time in a nice way to explain to them that you're in business, and unfortunately there's this, and if the competition is so much lower, then you have to say to them, hey, maybe you need to go. And then the biggest thing that I've always tried to do is use analogies. So if you know your customer and what their business is, ask them a pointed question about their profit or how they charge, or what do they do if I come in and ask you, I'll buy it, but it's too expensive. And as soon as they go, you say to them, you understand? People are in the habit of asking for better pricing, period. It's not even it's not even they need it. It's a habit. We got to break the habits.
Well, you know, if somebody says, in my town, people won't pay more than $10, it's 2 things. One, you think that's what the value is in your mind, or you're talking to the wrong people, because somebody in that town is paying $20 for the exact same
Move
thing.
pounds if it's too small.
Yep.
Right? Because once you give in, first of all, after COVID, everybody's prices were good. And then some idiot decided that he's going to lead the race to the bottom line and brought him back down again. Not everyone. And there's a lot of great companies doing a lot of good, but we don't talk about the great ones. We only talk about the ones that are killing the rest of us, right? And why'd they bring it down? Even today, somebody wants to pay $50. The courier's $20 minimum, no matter what it is. No matter, even when they say, what's with free shipping? What's with free
What
shipping?
did you say, Aaron? Was your customer wearing a Lululemon sweatshirt?
Yeah, exactly. It's like somebody in your town paid for a pair of Nikes or a designer handbag, so they're clearly willing to pay for something that has more perceived value than the cheap, I get my shoes from Walmart with the Velcros, right? Like, what do they value?
I have a better one. I went on a Saturday to bring proofs to the owner of this very large company because we're doing his catalog. He was late. I wanted to get it out. It was a nice job. We were making money. And I go to his house on Saturday morning. First of all, the house, I died pulling up to it. I was like, oh my God, whoa. And then I come outside. I'm waiting outside. He comes outside and he starts talking. He brings up the price of the catalog, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm scratching my head. Sitting in his driveway is a beautiful two-door Bentley coupe with 24-inch beautiful tires and rims. Each tire and rim's probably $7,000. The whole job is $9,000. Right? So I'm like, dude, I'll tell you what, I'll lower the price. Give me your spare tire. Like, people don't think about what they're asking in the positions that they sit in and how it looks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm getting your catalog out so you can go sell another $50 million of goods. But you're going to haggle me for $1,200? Please.
Exactly. All right. This has been awesome. So much good stuff in here for us to take from. I want to. You've been around for a bit, as you mentioned, right? I want to hear what you're excited about. Like, what are there technologies or trends or anything like that you're generally excited to see where this heads in our industry?
So first of all, I get excited on everything that comes out that's new, that could add value to what we do, that could add value to a customer, that could help us sell more, sell better, produce better. The real big thing that's out there today that's changing people's lives is AI, right? And AI, you could look at it however you want. I like to look at AI one way. It's just a tool. Everything it does still has to be checked. It helps me get somewhere a lot quicker, save days, hours, months, whatever it is. But it's how you use it and what you have to expect of it. What you can't expect for it is to fix and change your business, right? But it could help you with the people, your communication with your customers. It could help you speed up the estimates, your production. If you're making mistakes, you don't have to make the same mistake twice because you know it's already there, and everything you're gonna do. That, I think, is the hottest thing. Equipment, embellishments, all that stuff, whatever. There's always that stuff coming along. Yeah. I love high end. I love glitter. I love embellishments. But the fact is, you need to decide what it is that will work in your business. And 5 and 6 colors and 8 color printers and this and that, they're only good if you have a use. So the question is, what's good for you in your business? What can you sell? What can you teach your customers about? And for that, you're going to go to the shows to see everything that's happening in one place, because you can only do one or two, only one thing at a time that's new. Too many people are trying to do too many things. So my real concern is not about what's new, what's hot out there. It's whatever you're going to take, that you use it properly. Or it's a waste. Everything's a waste of money if you don't do it properly.
Love it. So good.
Well, I have a similar question, and for anybody who hasn't picked up on it, you're kind of enthusiastic about print.
You think?
Warren, with everything you've seen in the industry, what keeps you excited about print, and what makes you believe that there's a great future for independent print businesses?
So, not in any particular order. Big business is big business. Big business is not better business. Not every business wants to deal with big business, right? With big business comes longer delays, more bullshit, and more stories, and less touch with the customer because there's too many people involved. Nobody knows anybody. So, that's for that. What excites me the most always, again, everybody in business needs us in some form, even if they don't. I've had conversations with people that think they don't buy print, but they do buy print. Cups, mugs, t-shirts, right? All that wear, plus your marketing stuff, a stand, a booth, a sign. One guy says, we don't spend a lot on print. We spend maybe 150 grand. 150 grand is a good account for somebody. 10 of those, you have $1.5 million. So, just the excitement is that everyone needs us, whether we like it or not.
I have people say to me, well, how could I compete with Amazon? How could I and I always say, Amazon's never going to call you and say, hey, you know what? This artwork is 72 DPI. Let's get a better piece of artwork to get you a better end product. Amazon's going to print a 72 DPI file for you, and it's going to look like crap. So, being able to work with a customer is going to keep customers for you.
The person going to Amazon, the person going to Vistaprint are not your customers. Don't try to convert them. Now, let's take Vistaprint. Vistaprint is not a printing company, it's a technology company. So anyone who tries to compete with them or compare themselves or bring them into the realm of what they do is mistaken, right? I've gone on Vistaprint. No, actually two things. I remember when I was doing printing and a buddy of mine calls me up and he says, 5,000 postcards, I got a price from Vistaprint. I'm like, why? I said, you know what? I said, how much? Let me do the estimate. I did the estimate. I was cheaper than Vistaprint. They're like Walmart. They get you on the toilet paper, the toothpaste, and the tampons, and then everything else starts to jump. No, but women buyers, that's why I said that. But things start to jump. So you always have to look and do. The person buying, if they think that they're winning at Vistaprint just on price, they're mistaken. They're going to pay actually probably more for a lot of stuff. If a person wants to talk to someone, you got to go to the smaller companies. You got to go to the companies where they have service, right? I always used to say to someone, someone said to me, business cards are $50 online. You're $225. I said, yeah, but when you're not happy, you get to scream at me, right? There's a price for that. I said, the other thing is I'm turning around and I'm coming here tomorrow to do it. Amazon, you're not guaranteed delivery on a date and a whatnot. You're not going to see a sample. You're not going to see anything. They're just going to say, you sent the file, but you expect me to look at your files. You have communication again, right? I always ask the person who's going to go to Amazon, can I call you after just to follow up and see how your experience was? Eventually they break down. I use Amazon for a few things and the rest I go to the store still because when I want it, I want it.
Yep. Exactly. Love it. Well, as usual, we go on for hours and hours, but we will have to do that in person coming up in September. So tell us what you're excited about for Printing United. I know you're a big part of that. What's happening over there? Tell us a few things that you've got going on there at Printing United.
Yeah, so Printing United, I'll be doing a speak on how to properly run your business. So in case you want to hear it live with a few more details and stories, please check me out. I think it's Wednesday at 1:00 in some room. I don't know the room number. They might have changed it. I'm going there as with you, Aaron, like as an all-star.
Yep.
We're there to promote the show. We're there to meet with the students. Oh, I just want to touch on young people, please.
Yes, please.
Everybody out there, bring in somebody young. And this, I just learned this yesterday on my podcast that I had. So I had two girls talk more print, Mackenzie and Seth. And I asked them about what is it like when you're graduating school and you're going out to work. And they said, well, there's these internships that are offered in these companies. And I said, how would those go? And they said, well, there's so many people that want us to come in and do an internship or not pay us. I go, what? What? So to all you people out there who hear, and I said, how does that happen? Well, they'd say, well, when we did our internship, yeah, well, when you did internship, life was a little different, old man. But today, nobody's working for free. You got to teach them. They're not going to pay you to come learn. So show a little bit of respect, pay them, teach them, work with them. The minute you say, I'm not paying you, you just gave a mark against our industry that's not good. And that's not the case. And slave labor is illegal. I want to remind everybody, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to, all these little things are making me nuts.
I love it.
Because we complain about things and young people, well, we gotta, you know what? Everyone who has kids, sit down with your kids, talk to them, listen to their friends, hang out, don't say a word. And then you'll start to get a little better. I'm telling everybody, listen to Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V. Why? Because he's talking to the people we want to talk to. And what does he tell them? Be authentic. Don't fucking apologize. Be yourself. We're telling them, oh no, you should be something else if you want to come here. We need to learn to adapt.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right. So
Thank you. I feel better.
now you're good. Maybe this is therapeutic for Warren, Terry. I think I love it.
Like I need more therapy.
Yeah. Warren, you're awesome. All right. Tell us how people can find you. I know you've got your t-shirt shop as well. So give us where people can find that. And then we'll see you in person in Printing United. But yeah, tell us where we can connect with you.
The printwhisper.shop is for, I fucking love print and all kinds of other t-shirts, mental health, AI, and pickleball fishing, whatever. You can find me there. You can Google Warren Werbit, and then you will not be able to not find me because the first 10 pages will just be me, the good, the bad, the ugly. But in there's phone numbers, emails, and websites, and LinkedIn, and I'm easy.
Yeah, it's easy to find and fun to get to connect with. So, Warren, looking forward to seeing you in September, sir. Thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be a guest and not a host. So thank you.
That's fun, isn't it?
We'll see you in September.
Cheers.
All right.
Taking all that in, Terry. That was some good stuff there.
Talking about the Utes. I'm sorry, the Utes. You know, young people, the Utes.
The Utes. Oh boy, that's a good movie. Dot Tone Dan says, "Great intern point. It's illegal to not pay them a minimum wage. It's called a minimum for a reason." So there you go. Dan's on the. And then Ramona earlier. Sorry, Ramona, I missed this. Says sounds like an annual purge for outdated processes. Which makes it sounds like a pretty good idea. I love your story about.
Great idea.
In fact, I use your story all the time, Terry, about the big notebooks on the wall that people would go to and nobody was actually using. Yeah. I maybe embellished it over the years too, so it's an amazing story by now.
I certainly never do that.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, speaking of amazing stories, where can people learn from you, sir? What's coming up on Terry's Big Book of Travel here?
Yeah, absolutely. My complete screen printed business course, I will be at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. Next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, August 22nd, 23rd. I think there's a couple of spots open.
Okay.
If you'd want to come to screen printing class, and then I'll be there again November 7th and 8th. Speaking of Printing United, I will be in the apparel zone in the DTF Superstore booth. We're going to be running the Epson F2270 DTG printer. We're going to be running the G6070 DTF printer from morning till night, and we're going to be running the new G9070, 350 square feet per hour, morning to night. We're going to just keep changing out rolls and never stop. So remember, the apparel zone is all about education, not about selling. So it's your safe space to come and talk about DTF printing, DTG printing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Watch for all of my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Yeah, so definitely excited about Printing United. But before we talk about that, there's another event that a little bit after Printing United that I'm really excited about. I just want to make sure that we keep getting it out to folks because I think this is a room that if you're a small business owner, this is a room you not even want to be in. I think it's almost have to be in, especially if you're, I know how easy it is for business owners to become so busy running the business that they rarely have time to step back and think about where it's going. So the Purpose Plus Profit Retreat is happening October 30th and 31st here in St. Charles, Missouri. And it's an opportunity that we've built to give small business owners 2 intentional days to reconnect with their purpose, to strengthen their profitability, and really just to gain practical strategies. and build relationships. I think a lot of times strategies come out of these relationships. And so one of the superpowers that I've been blessed with is that gift of facilitation. And so I'm looking forward to facilitating those relationships and strategies. This is not a large conference or some surface level networking event or anything like that. It's really intentionally a small retreat designed for business owners who are just tired of not having clarity, right? They don't know where they're going. They're just got so much noise going on that they don't know their direction. And they're ready for their business to actually support their life instead of run their life, right? A lot of times small business owners end up creating what I call a JOB, just over broke. And, you could probably go look at your paycheck and say, would I be better off just clocking in and clocking out at the McDonald's up the street instead, right? And so we just want to eradicate that. So if you'll go to osg.link/retreat, you can get more information. If you want to reach out and talk to us and just see if this is right for you. I've had lots of great conversations. We had some great conversations in Minneapolis. One young lady that's going to be at the event there, she signed up there at the show. She said to me, she's like, I don't know how you could say no to this. Like the price is so low. She's like, she's like, kept asking, you sure it includes this? You sure it includes this? You sure it includes this? I'm like, yeah, that's all included. We're not trying to make it, this big money grab. This is really about getting the right people in the room here. And she's just couldn't quite go, are you sure? And we're like, yes. And she's like, well, I don't know how you couldn't not show up at this. So I don't know if that tells you anything. Please check that out, osg.link/retreat. And then, as we've talked about quite a bit here, Printing United coming up September 23rd will be the first day. And that day at noon, I get to teach a class called The Ideal Customer Blueprint, How Print Shops Can Increase Profit by Serving the Right Buyers. And then the next day, Thursday at noon, I will be teaching simple creative plays to reach more buyers without more ad spend. So just kind of some new and creative marketing ideas. And as a facilitator, we'll probably even bring some ideas from in the class. So it'll be like a giant mastermind session, maybe a little bit too. But plenty of great stuff happening there. Later on that day, I'll be talking about DTF, where we'll talk from file to finished print, what actually matters in DTF production. And then on Thursday, the 24th at 11 a.m., I get to be on a panel that's hosted by our friend Cassie Green from The Apparelist. And it's called Margins Over Machines, the business decisions that actually make you money. And there's a couple of amazing people on there. In fact, a friend of the show here, Angie Meese from, she's with, just blanked, SNS, excuse me. I was thinking Sanmar SNS, couldn't remember. And she's with SNS now. And so she'll be on that panel. And a gentleman named Adam, and I cannot remember his last name, but he's been an educator at DAX. So excited to get to know him more. So that's happening. There's a massive amount of education going on in the Apparel Zone, like Terry's already talked about. You come by and check out the Super Gamut booth in the Apparel Zone. Plus, as Warren talked about, the Expo All-Stars have a ton of cool stuff happening, including some just little mini masterminds that'll be there. I'm actually facilitating 2 of those tables. There's actually so much stuff. We're already out of town. And so make sure, get to Vegas September. If you'll go to printingunited.com/register, you can use the code 341404 to get in free. So that's
and
what's
you and I are
happening.
going to do a session on Friday in the Apparel Zone. So
Yep, absolutely. I didn't even, like I said, there's so much going on. I couldn't list it all out. I already overdid it here. So can you help share what Eric's got coming up before we get to his secret sauce here?
Absolutely. Join Eric today for the Take Up, episode 263, Reasons to Re-Digitize. In this episode, Eric will talk about reasons why you might decide to digitize a design rather than rely on stock design assets or received files, and what you can reasonably achieve with editing alone. Catch Eric's take as a commercial custom digitizer and why his company often chose to dip into digitizing. So jump in at 2:30 Mountain, 4:30 Eastern. Head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up at the top to access this and all of Eric's 263 episodes.
There we go. Excited. All right. Well, let's get to Eric's secret sauce here.
folks. Today, my secret sauce is all about when to redraw art for embroidery digitizing. Though crisp, clear artwork provides us with the best way to start our process, everyone in the garment decoration space gets used to customers' inability to provide us with artwork assets at the quality or the completeness that we'd like to have. In a pre-digital era, it usually was something we called a cocktail napkin design, something that was roughly scrawled logos on a scrap of paper with little useful information. But in the current era, most of the time we're presented with low-resolution, lossy design files, compressed raster files pulled from an online source, and at the best, what we can expect is to get vector files that are prepared for print that sadly don't create the usable objects that we need for the embroidery process. So often are not even all that useful for us aside from being clear and crisp and easy to scale. Fortunately, though, these files do contain some semblance of what the customer wants and we can work from them. The things to remember are certainly first that source art is not sacred. We as digitizers and embroiderers should start with the understanding that embroidery is always an interpretation of the source, means that we were already bound to alter the art no matter what. We can't simply feed the source into a digital printer or conversion process to create the most efficient, cleanest running, most attractive embroidered rendition. We will differ somewhat from the print version of the art. That said, there are specific conditions under which, the art must be presented in a way that has to be reworked. Something can make this art come to us in such a way that we have to do some sort of work, either because we need the clarity for digitizing, we really can't see what's going on, or to show and secure approvals for alterations that are required by embroidery to that original image. The trick to efficiency and efficacy is knowing when to redraw or rework the art before we reach the digitizing stage, which is something that's a lot harder to undo. So what we need to know is when to draw or redraw. When preparing art for embroidery, you might find the need to replace poor quality imagery or unembroiderable text to move certain elements to suit the decoration area or the particular garment you're working on, or to remove or refine graphical elements that just won't embroider correctly. Though we may often be able to overlay a new or altered element over the original unadulterated art, sending the initial concept for pre-approval is important, and there are cases in which it makes a lot of sense for us to draw or edit or produce clean art before we digitize. So let's examine some of the common reasons why we should absolutely redraw or rework customer art before the digitizing process starts. Certainly, art quality is a big one. When the art provided is of such poor quality that we literally cannot see enough detail to digitize, or the interpretation of the design is uncomfortably unclear, we cannot see the edges we were trying to draw shapes from, we might have to draw or replace elements for clarity. Low-resolution rasters can be the common culprit, but it also is working from an embroidered sample without digital art, wherein the natural distortion or roughness of the embroidery means we can't get a clean, corrected image with straight lines, even text, things that we then need in order to establish our lines, our straight text, and the distortions we have to work from. Well-made piece may not have the adequate guidance, right? It looks nice as an embroidery piece, but we need that straight guidance and might have to redraw the shapes so we know where we're at when we digitize. Secondarily, we have garment or embroidery issues. When the needs of the garment or the embroidery as a medium necessitate major alteration to the design, you really need to redraw to secure pre-approval, if not just to get things right for your digitizing process. We know that some garments require special considerations. Caps have a wide, short area available for decoration. Tall, thin logos need to be altered or elements moved to suit the available area. Bags or other accessories may have straps or pockets or other elements that limit or alter the area in which we can safely decorate. Deep V-neck shirts, garments with lapels, color-blocked outerwear might need us to have a particular size, orientation, or colorway in order to get the visible items free from interference that might obscure the logo. As for embroidery, we all are aware that areas with gradients, tiny details, overly dense detail lines, small elements, or text that won't stitch cleanly at the finished size can truly derail a design and provide poor quality. Sub 5mm text is a really big one. Certainly needs specialty threads and digitizing to get smaller if that clarity and that size is important. But you may elect to alter text, remove details, or otherwise change layouts, font choices, or other elements to allow for cleaner embroidery, particularly on difficult or textured fabrics. These larger changes are far better discussed and approved long before the digitizing process starts. Also, we might have multiple media involved. When the customer requires printed materials as well as embroidery and the artwork is too poor to print, it really makes sense to go ahead and combine these two processes. When customers want additional goods, whether heat pressed, digitally printed, screen printed, sublimated, you might want art clear enough for which to digitize the design, that also lets you use that art for other uses. When that design doesn't have that clarity, now we're actually providing two services. When coordinating print and embroidery execution, you have a chance to create coordinating artwork that isn't necessarily a replication of the print version, or to alter the artwork from embroidery first and then match the print to an embroidery friendly version, should your customer want a uniform rendition. Frankly, it just lets you apply this artwork to more sources and to have something clean to work on for direct print, and give you the resources to make the best version for embroidery. Sometimes there's unseen alterations. And here's the thing. Everybody can tell you, hey, I pre-approve it. There is no such thing as a pre-approval. You only get approval after work is done. When customers provide art that doesn't reflect additional elements, changes to the included imagery, additional text, or other graphical alterations they describe in their order, it makes sense to create a complete, clean, and finished piece that contains the new elements for pre-digitizing approval. Not all editions require redraw. If you're adding simple text, you can simply combine an image and lay on the new text and composite the new elements into that preview before you digitize, obviously. But if you require any elements that interact with the existing art, replace elements inside of the original art, recreate another piece, we really might want to redraw that and create that necessary art originally, especially if the original you're working from is a low quality raster image. And then, of course, there's color correction, last but not least. When the color combinations or desired garment colors require extensive changes to the art itself, it may make sense to recreate the art so as to allow easier use of design tools to create backgrounds or outlines or other elements required to handle this color correction. Some colorways or conflicts between arts and garment colors really do require alteration of the original design. If you're reversing a single color image or dealing with a logo that has elements of the same color as the underlying garment, it's sometimes desirable to either outline or back the image with a contrasting color so that you can maintain the original design's color rather than simply changing thread to achieve contrast. Particularly true of single color imagery that depicts shadows or outlines of an object or a mascot. When you reverse those on dark garments, it makes the logo look like a photographic negative, and it's never a good idea, whether you're doing this in print or in embroidery. That said, these kinds of changes are transformative enough to at least create one composited version of the artwork with the new elements ready for approval. Even if you don't opt for a full redraw, you should still do a recolored base of some kind. So in conclusion, guys, while embroidery is inherently an improvement process, knowing when to redraw or rework customer art, whether due to the poor quality of the art, garment limitations, multimedia requirements, or requested additions, or even those kind of color constraints we talked about, it's always essential for achieving the best embroidered result. Proactive communication and getting that pre-approval for alterations can ensure that the digitizer and the client are working from the same expectations toward what we both really want. The best embroidery result and the best experience where we're all fulfilled on those expectations. And that is my secret sauce for today.
And when Eric said cocktail napkin artwork, it made me kind of laugh. And today I personally created this graphic in AI. Did you?
The AI slop. Love it. Love it. Dot Tone Dan said, that's something as a new young artist I had to get over when doing commercial art. You have to adjust the art to make it work for the item you are using it for. Otherwise, it's not going to work right. As an artist in art school, we are taught about protecting the integrity of the art. What they didn't go over in art school is commercial art needs adjusted for each application. For example, how do you do a Mona Lisa in embroidery while maintaining the integrity of the art? You don't, right? So interesting take on that from Mr. Dot Tone Dan. And Dan also said earlier, thank you guys for always being there for us. I'm sure I'll speak for all of us out here that we take you both for granted, that you will always be there next time. Keep watching all and participate. Absolutely. We appreciate that. But we are always going to be here, I think, Terry. I think.
And we appreciate you, Dan, as well. So.
Yeah. And Eric said I should have mentioned AI. So thank you. All right. Well, Terry, this has been a fantastic show today. Thanks to Warren for being here and sharing all those golden nuggets. And we really appreciate him. So make sure you get over there to the printwhisperer.shop and buy one of those awesome t-shirts. And also make sure that you're connecting with Warren. He's somebody that you want in your corner there.
Yeah. When you're at if you don't know where he's at Printing United, just listen. You'll find them.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can hear Terry's laugh and Warren talking. It's pretty awesome.
We also want to thank our show producer Eric Campbell for pushing those buttons and turning those wheels and jumping in live today to do a great secret sauce.
Yeah, and thank you so much again for covering for us last week while we were on the road, and appreciate you and Cassie doing that great show. And I know Eric didn't think it went all that well because of the technical difficulties, but did he not know that that's what the two regular guys do? That's kind of our thing. Eric, you've only been with us for what, 10-ish, 12-ish years, something like that. So we'll let you in on a secret. Things happen on here all the time. It's part of our charm. All right. So next week, Terry, Joanne Gore is going to be joining us, another Expo All-Star. And she's going to talk about the power community, probably get into some AI slop. We're gonna go all over some really fun places. She's a marketing guru on top of that. So, man, we're going to have all sorts of questions for Joanne, and can't wait to get her in here. Such a great personality. I got to meet her in person for the first time last year at Printing United. So looking forward to introducing Joanne to the regulators here, Terry.
Awesome. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the two regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.